Welcome to the channel where you will find love, laughs, and DIYs. My name is Crafty Kathy, and I'm so happy and thankful that you stopped in to craft and spend a little time with me today. I am the owner and creator of Kids Vintage Farmhouse here in beautiful Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm going to show you some new spring thrift flips that I've been working on, and we're going to talk about who won that contest from last week. But for now, let's just jump into the video. I got this little trinket box at the Goodwill. I got it on half off day, and so I only paid $1 for it. And I really did like this pleather, like a leather outer piece on it. I liked it because it had, some kind of character to it. It wasn't just plain. But I wanted to juice it up a little bit. Now, this is my trimmings mold. This is Trimmings 2 by IOD. I've got my DAS clay, which is my favorite clay because it's cheap. It's on Amazon, and it lasts really good. Like, I really like it. So all I'm going to do is just go down through here, and I did this twice because I needed this exact same little trimmings. I picked this one that had like a flower motif going on with it, and it didn't go all the way around, so I had to cut it down to make it fit. I was trying to avoid that little clasp in the front. Of course, I don't want to go right over the top of that, but my plan was to put this little mold just kind of at the top of the jewelry box, so when you open it, it'll be on that piece of it. I put my Type Bond glue on it, which is a wood glue, but it works great on these molds. I like it the best. And I just slapped a little bit of that on the top, and I put it on there. And you see that my little mold didn't go all the way around, but like I said, I made 2 of those molds so that we could fix that. I quickly realized that I didn't need a whole lot of mold left there. So what I did was just make like 1/4 of a piece, because I ain't gonna waste my clay. I mean, it's pretty cheap, but I ain't gonna waste it. So I used this little cutter just to kind of make a straight cut so I would know exactly where I needed it, and I just glued these pieces on. The good things about these IOD molds is they're like interlocking. So if you cut a piece off or you finish a piece, they go right together, and you can't even tell that you had to kind of piece it together. You know what I'm saying? So I went all the way around this little box and pieced those little pieces together, because to me, I liked the way it looked, but it still was just too plain to me, So then I pulled out my cameos mold. I was in a mold kind of feeling, I guess. I don't know what was going on, in a mold mood. And so I just pulled out some more of my clay, and I'm going to stick it in a few of these little cameos. Now, this is just the second time I've ever used this mold, and I really like it. I think it's so pretty. And I'm going to go with 2 of them because I wasn't sure which one I was going to put on my little jewelry box yet. And then when I use these little cameo molds, it's got these 2 teeny weeny little birds at the top, and every time I just can't help myself and I have to make those little birds. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you, and I was being lazy. I didn't go get cornstarch to put in my mold, and one of them was a little bit difficult to come out, and it was kind of thin. It was this one. Now, I got it to come out, but it didn't make the perfect shape that I wanted, but the other one came out beautifully, the one that has the roses on it. So what I did was just decide to make 2 of the ones with the roses on it. Instead of to get my lazy fat butt up and go get the cornstarch like I should have done, I just made 2 of the ones that was coming out of the mold real easy. It made sense to me. And then I made another little birdie. Now, y'all don't laugh and make fun of me. I know y'all have days like that. I have them more often than I'd like to admit. And side note, this little vacuum is a lifesaver. It picked up every single piece of that clay. All right, so let's move on quickly. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my antiquity stamp. Now, I'm going to pull my DAS clay back out because I done put it up. And I'm going to show you how I store this stuff too in a minute. But for the meantime, I just kind of rolled a little bit of it out because there's two ways you can use these stamps. You can use them like normal and put the ink on them. But you can also do them this way, where you just like flatten it out like I'm doing here. Make sure you do it on some wax paper or, you know, something of that nature, because if I was trying to do it on this doggone silicone mat and it kept sticking, and I got mad at myself, and so this is about the 30th time I tried it here. Not really, but, you know, I got to make it sound like it was rough. So all you got to do is just lay down your stamp, and I like to use a brayer after I lightly push that stamp down in there, and that brayer helps, you know, helps it get way down in that clay. And then I just like to use my little X-Acto knife and kind of cut around the image and just put the rest of it back in my little clay mat thing. Because, you know, my mama always told me not to waste. As you can probably tell by looking at me, I don't waste food, and I definitely don't waste clay. So, it's really easy after you do that. And you can smooth out the edges here, too. If you have a little bit of edges that look like they might need to be sanded down later or smoothed out, you just kind of smooth them out right now, and you just peel it right off there to reveal a beautifully perfect mold. So then we're going to put all this together, and I put some of that Titebond all over the back of my little mold here, and I want this mold to go on the top of my little box. And then I thought it would be really pretty to use that little round one, the one with the roses on it, to go right underneath the little clasp. So I just added a little bit of the glue to that and stuck it right there in front of that clasp. And remember, I made them little tiny birds. I'm going to stick one little single solitary bird kind of on the side like she's a swooping swallow. Boy, I am something else today, ain't I? I'm just in a rare form, and I'm just being silly. So I'm going to take that color sea glass once again, and I'm going to paint my little box with sea glass. Y'all let me know what you think about this color sea glass. This is the first time that I have ever used it, and I think I like it. I'm not 100% sure yet. I do think I like it, though. But guess what? It took 2 coats to cover up this box because this box was so dark. And normally, my DIY paint just takes 1 coat, which I was a little shocked. And then here I am doing the part where I'm going to dry it down and let you see how beautiful it dries down. I never get tired of that. I never, ever get tired of it. It's because my DIY paint is clay-based, and so when it's wet, it's a little bit darker, but as you put the blow dryer to it and dry it down, it just gets lighter, and it's just crazy. You can see it right before your eyes get lighter. I used a really small, like, detail brush to get around all those clasps because I wanted to keep those dark. And then once again, I dried it down for the second coat. And if y'all want to know why I couldn't get much done this day when I was working, this little rascal would not stop. She just kept on jumping up in my lap. Like, I've been trying to bring her out to my craft room with me because y'all know Sabby was always at my feet. But Roxy's just a whole different kind of dog. You know, she's anxious and she's 100 miles an hour all the time. And she's out there getting into my flowers and chewing this up and doing this. And so it's hard to keep my concentration on one thing. But the little squirt jumped up in my lap and had to have some loving, so we had to take a little break here and give her some much needed love. And she's just something else, y'all. This puppy, she is going to drive this new pug wild. I'm telling you. I can't wait till I get my pug tomorrow, but I'm just telling you, she is going to aggravate the pee out of this new dog because she never stops, ever. But if you want to talk about personality, she definitely has a wild personality. I love this little girl, and like I said, she keeps me on my toes, y'all. She is a mess. So now we got to get back to the crafting. I took my DIY black wax because, honestly, because I don't use it that much. And I thought, I'm going to try out some of my black wax on this and see what it would look like. Now, I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. The white wax is my favorite. It lightens everything up and brightens it up and makes it beautiful. And the black wax has certain times when I like it, but it's not my favorite. But it's just because I like things to be lighter and have the white underneath it. Do you know what I'm saying? But there's times when the black looks really good too. And a lot of people like the black wax, but I tend to notice that people go for the white wax more. And I definitely do. I'm a white wax kind of gal. So I put my black wax all over this with just an old distressing brush, nothing special, because it gets down in all those grooves and all those little nooks and crannies. And then I just used a dry paper towel and kind of wiped off the excess. And I couldn't help myself. I ended up pulling out the white wax and going over this whole thing. And that's probably what I should have done in the first place because I liked it so much better. I like the white wax with this sea glass color. I think it's really pretty and bright and just kind of airy and cheerful. And I hope that you guys like this first one. And I hope I'm not being too silly with you today. I'm just in one of those moods.
Inside your wings, you are my comfort. When life gets hard, you lead me to water to drink. And now I trust your gentle hand, even when can't understand. I know your voice. I'm not afraid.
On the next one, I have this cutting board, and I made this big sticker with the little bunny rabbit on it. I'll tell you how I did that in just a moment. But first, I'm going to give this cutting board 2 coats of that color sea glass. The company called Woodpecker Crafts sent me this cutting board. They actually sent me a few different pieces of wood, and it's been almost a year ago, and I'm just now getting around to using this. But it's like unfinished wood products, and you can go and find all different kinds of stuff in there, and then you just paint it yourself. Now, I made sure that I painted the front, the back, and all of the sides of this beautiful cutting board. And there I go again. I never get tired of watching it dry down. Now, the way that I made this sticker is a company called koala.com has this sticker paper. And all you do is you put the sticker paper in your inkjet printer and you pick whatever image that you want to print and just print it. And that's pretty much it. I sized this little bunny picture out. This is one of my pictures that's in my Etsy store that I have under my sublimation. And I just like this SVG. I think it's very pretty. And I made it almost an 8 by 10. I'm not really sure why I made it that big, but I'm glad I did because it fit on this little cutting board perfectly. But I'm just going to go around the edges and cut it out. And since it's a sticker, you do it just like you normally would any sticker. You pull off that backing, and then you just put it down wherever you want it. And I finally got it placed exactly where I wanted it. And then I just took like a little fingernail filer and went around the edges to file down the sides. This fingernail file came from the Dollar Tree, and it's absolutely amazing to just sand the edges off of stuff that you don't want. And you always just sand it away from yourself in a downward motion, and it makes a beautiful, clean cut every time. And now I'm going to use that other little rosette. Remember that I made just a moment ago with the cameos mold? I'm going to take and put it right kind of in the center over the top of the little bunny rabbit. I'm just going to put a little bit of that Loctite glue on the back and then stick it on there. And I just have to paint over this really quickly because I haven't painted that yet. And so I gave it just one quick coat of the color Sea Glass. I'm going to take a little bit of my DIY white wax and I'm just going to go over the top of this. And by the way, if you need any of this white wax or any of the IOD stuff, any of the DIY paint brushes, rice paper, crackle, you name it, my friend Lori over at Milton's Daughter sells all this. That's where I buy all of my supplies at, or most of my supplies. And you can find her at www.miltonsdaughter.com. And if you use code CraftyCathy10, you're going to get 10% off. Except for the DIY paint and the IOD, because neither of those companies allow you to do like discounts. So she can't discount those two things. But she does have all kinds of discounted programs. Here I'm just taking some of my thicker jute twine that I get from Amazon. And I'm just going to make a double knot in the top. And this one was super simple and easy and quick and beautiful. I hope you like it.
Whenever you're down, out in the cold, faithless and dark, your story's untold. Come take my hand and walk there with me. I know a place where we can be free. There is a light shining for you, guiding your way, helping you through. And shadows and gloom are all that you see. We'll find a place where we can be free. From the mountaintop down to the deepest valley, hear a voice calling you.
All right, this is our last DIY of the day. Do y'all remember about a year ago when these pictures came out at the Dollar Tree and they said out of office or out of order on them? Well, I had used one in a previous DIY and I took my straight razor and I scratched off the words that said out of office. But on this one, I'm going to use two of them and I'm actually going to leave the words on one of them because it's not necessary that I take it off. So I painted the outside of these frames with that Waverly color that's black, and then on the inside I'm going to paint both of them white. And it doesn't have to be a perfect paint job on the inside because we're going to cover it up with that rice paper at the top. Now I got that rice paper from Lori over at Milton's Daughter that's got those beautiful little bunnies on the top, and I think they're funny looking. They're like they're posed for their little Victorian picture, their family photo there. But I gave this just one coat of the white chalk paint and then on the outside the black chalk paint. You know, when I'm decoupaging, I don't like to do straight edges. It just looks more natural and more organic if you have like a ripped edge. And so I just squirted a little bit of water on my silicone mat and I use a fine paintbrush and I just go around the image where I want to tear it and I just tear both of these into two separate images. Now that I've got these torn down, they fit in there very nicely, but they're still just a little bit longer than what I need. So I'll lay them down exactly where I want them and kind of crease it with my fingernail so I know where to put my water. and I just dip my brush back in that water and go along that edge and just rip that little piece off at the top that I don't need. Then I grab my DIY liquid patina, which is like Mod Podge. It's just a lot thinner and I like it a lot better. And I'm just going to put this all over my picture. I put a very thin coat on here. You don't need much. And I just lay my rice paper down. Now, I love to use rice paper. I like it way better than napkins because it's thicker and it doesn't cause any kind of wrinkles when you put it down most of the time. You can get wrinkles with it, but it's a little bit more difficult to get your wrinkles with your rice paper as opposed to napkins. So I'm just putting a little layer of this liquid patina down, putting my picture down, and if you notice, I start off in the middle of the picture and work my way outward to smooth out any wrinkles. I'm going to take my little cheap makeup palette. It's just eyeshadow, and I picked the black color and my little shading brush. Now, you can get these little brushes that I'm using at the Dollar Tree. I didn't find them at mine, but I've seen them there before. I actually got mine off of Amazon, and I put it in my Amazon store if you need some. But all I'm doing is going along the edges with that black eyeshadow, and I'm literally just shading it. Now, a lot of people have asked me if I seal my stuff in when I'm using this eyeshadow, and yes, I do. I forgot to mention that. I like to seal it in with that Rust-Oleum clear matte, and you get it in the spray paint section at Walmart, but it's the Rust-Oleum clear matte, and you just spray it. It's easy, and I love it. Now, you can imagine, since this is makeup and it's eyeshadow, that a little bit of it does kind of brush off, so don't expect for it to necessarily be permanent, but I don't really have any trouble with it coming off really bad. So I just went through with my little brush and the fingertip there. It always does the job perfect, and I just shaded it to the way I liked it. I just take my time and enjoy the process, and this is something that I really enjoy doing, if that makes sense. I just enjoy doing the shading with the makeup. Like, it seems like it's relaxing to me, and you just add a little or take away. Just, it's all personal preference, however you like it. But I worked on both of these and got them exactly how I like it. Now, I can imagine these up in little Bunny's house, and when people come in, they see the picture of the girl bunny and the boy bunny, and they just know whose home they're in. They're a very distinguished couple.
I come to you in times of trouble. You're always resting at my door. Though I've wavered, you've been waiting. I'm the one you're looking.
If you guys stuck with me through this whole video, I just want to say thank you, and I am so happy and thankful that you stopped in, spend a little time with me. I know you guys are dying to find out who the winner was, and the winner is Patrice Lagos, or Lagos. I'm not really sure how you say her last name, but this is a picture of her and her comment. And Patrice, I want you to get a hold of me through my email, which is kathycheryl77@gmail.com. I'll leave that in the description box below, and here it is on the screen. And you've got until Wednesday to contact me through my email, or I'll have to move on to the next person. And here's a quick clip of Miss Roxy. She's so excited about getting her brother tomorrow. I will do a video tomorrow evening introducing the little guy to y'all and giving you his name and the meaning of his name. I'm not sure what time the video will be out just yet because I don't know what time I'll be getting him. So just be watching your notifications so you don't miss the video. Roxy, put the collar down. Stop chewing your collar. She said, huh? We don't chew our collars. She can't wear a collar because Yorkies have very soft, kind of like, you have to be careful with their little esophagus. It's very fragile, I guess you could call it. So she doesn't really wear a collar anyway. Her collar is only for fashion. It's a pink bow tie with glitter. But she can only wear it for fashion reasons. She has to wear a harness because I don't want to hurt her little esophagus. She's so pampered, this dog. Look at her. Watch her. She thinks she is just getting it told. Rox, what you doing? Yeah. And for those of you that are still watching, don't forget to have your notifications turned on so you can meet the new guy tomorrow evening. Now, if your notifications, if you don't know if they're turned on or not, you can go beside your subscribe button on your screen and you will see a little bell. And when you click that, if the word all is clicked, YouTube will let you know every time that I put out a video. And if you guys would, please give this video a like and leave me a comment. Let me know which one was your favorite of the DIYs of today. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you subscribe. I would love to have you here, and we always have room for more in our family.
Roxy Renee.
I hope y'all enjoy the rest of this video. It's just a few more seconds long. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget. Bye-bye.